schools, and with that, particularly those individuals who want to go into some fields of science or in medical school. I've been on the admissions committee at IU School of Medicine, and I still participate on the scholarship committee with that school. I also am the liaison officer for Lilly, for the Lilly Scholars Program, which they have set up for minority medical students. Once accepted into IU, then IU identifies a student of excellence, and they award the scholarship, and they have an opportunity to have their education supported by Lilly. I also am the founder or co-founder of two charter schools which focus on life science, starting in elementary grade, K through 8, one on the east side and one on the west side. So this is very dear and near to me, is trying to get our children exposed so that they can have opportunities.
Okay. As you know, this show is dealing with clinical trials, trying to get more people of color to participate in the trials. As I was doing research, I saw a statistic that said 70% of the participants that are in these trials are people of color. Mm-hmm. Should I be scared over that number, or what does that number really mean?
Well, the number simply reflects the number of people that actually participate in the trials that are of color. A lot of it is due to basically 4 reasons why they don't. Usually they have a fear or mistrust. They have a lack of education of understanding what the trials are about or what they're going to do. They have a desire not to be, quote-unquote, experimented on, which is kind of based on the Tuskegee story. And then finally, the logistics of it. A lot of times, the investigators that do these trials are in the suburbs, and a lot of these patients live inner city. So trying to get to the site becomes a little challenging for them.
You know, I have to go back and snatch the thing about Tuskegee experiment. Can you share a little information for our listeners or viewers who are not familiar with the Tuskegee experiment?
Okay. This is an experiment that occurred back in 1932. These are individuals, African American, that had contracted syphilis. And so there was a study to try to understand the life cycle of syphilis. So once someone contracted the disease, what was the course of the disease, how did they manifest? Because as many people know, it ultimately results in neurological disorders and ultimate death. And so at that time, there really wasn't a lot of treatment for that, and someone decided that because of the incidence of syphilis among African American, they thought that that would be a good group to evaluate that in. So there was an African American physician, nurses, and they worked with some of the sharecroppers in that area of Tuskegee, and they became participants in that trial. The problem is that once a cure or treatment for syphilis became available in 1972, these individuals were denied that information. There was no informed consent as we have today, and so they were allowed to continue on in the disease without getting the appropriate treatment until the leak of this was occurring, and it became many people became aware of it, and then of course the study was abruptly stopped. So out of that, many African Americans felt that people doing experiments on me instead of giving me the opportunity to get treatment, and so clinical trials got a very bad rep, as the kids would say, because of that.
So what's the process of a clinical trial? Can you walk me through from how does a person get involved with this? Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing is that clinical trial is the evaluation of a drug or a device in humans. Because most drugs, when they begin, or even devices, begin in what we call preclinical. So that would be animal or tissues to see if it is even feasible. Once the drug feels that it is safe enough to begin to try to evaluate in humans, we go in what we call phase 1. These are usually healthy volunteers, and their whole purpose is to basically see if the drug is toxic. And these are people who simply are made aware of a study going on through medical centers, doctors' offices, and the like, and they begin to enroll in that study and are usually housed in the facility and watched very closely, drawing blood and other assessments to make sure that the drug is safe. Once they realize that it is safe, then the next phase is called phase 2, and they actually tested the drug or the device in patients with a disease state. That's usually about a few hundred to 1,000, And the assessment is basically to find out, is it efficacious? Does it work? And in that case, the drug is used or evaluated for about, I would say, weeks to years. And if the data from that suggests that it is workable and it is safe, then they scale it up to a larger number of hundreds of thousands of people, and it becomes usually globally, as we say, assessment, and that's called phase 3. And that would last for many, many years in the assessment of that. And in any of those studies, once you get into patients, it's usually the doctors that are made aware of a new drug coming out, and if they have a patient of that particular type, then they would contact that patient and inform them of the study, inform them what it may result for them and not, and just assess their interests, and if they are, then enroll them in the study and go from there.
Okay. She is Dr. Wright. Stay with us. We will continue our conversation with her after this break.
I'm Montel Williams. Every day on my show, I talk to people about their problems. I do my share of listening too. But at the end of the day, I'm all about finding solutions. For the people that need a helping hand paying for medicine, I found one. The Partnership for Prescription Assistance. How easy was it for you to go down and apply?
Oh, very easy. I done it over the phone.
They were very polite, very easy to deal with.
It's a free phone call, and it took 5 minutes.
Well, to see if you may qualify, call 1-888-4PPA now. A trained specialist will help you apply. Just tell them the names of the medicine you take. You could get them for free or nearly free.
I'm saving about $150 a month. It's amazing, but it's true. I get 10 medications, and I get them free.
Now that I have my medications, I feel human again.
It took a great burden off of me.
I'm going all across America to talk about this free service. And I hope one day, paying for medicine won't be a problem I have to talk about anymore. Your medicine, your life, your time to call.
I ran the 800. I studied mechanical engineering and industrial design. I was a conference champion. I graduated with a GPA of 3.2. It took hard work, discipline, and stamina. And believe me, I rely on those things every day raising my daughter.
There are over 360,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us are going pro in something other than sports.
Thank you for staying with us. Now we will continue our conversation with Dr. Wright about the importance of having people of color participate in clinical trials. As we went to break, I wanted to get into the benefit of African Americans or Latinos participating in these trials and trying to get past. I think the benefit, does the benefit outweigh the fear?
Definitely will, because of the fact that different drugs react differently with different people based on either their gender, ethnicity, the severity of the disease, and then the only way that we can really assess what that drug will do in this different groups of people is to have those individuals participate in the trial where we can closely monitor them, assess them, and move forward. So I'm very much a strong component of people of color participating in clinical trials for their own benefit, so that the drug will be designed for them rather than just for the general population, which may not provide benefit for them.
I know nowadays there's something called specialized or specialized medicine, where the medicine can fit the individual. I wish this technology was back when my grandmother, we call her Big Mama, she had sugar diabetes. So in a African American community, say, I got sugar. Okay. So how important you think that could have saved my Big Mama life back then if she would have been and went through a trial, or if more African Americans were participating where you can specialize? Can you go into a little bit about specialized medicine? Okay.
The term you're referring to, we kind of nicely refer to it as tailored therapeutics, is where you are basically engineering the drug to address a particular disease state or severity of the disease state. And so I believe very strongly that could have been beneficial to your grandmother and many like her, because of the fact of